I just grew up in an environment where, I wasn't a Christian growing up, didn't go to church at all. Really, every now and then I would visit with a friend or something like that. And I just grew up and didn't see a need to believe in God, so I didn't. I was taught something else and just bought into the whole secular thing from a pretty young age. And by the time I was a middle schooler, I just I identified as an atheist. That's what I believed, that there was no God, and I was pretty firm on that into high school. And then I met a girl there who kind of just became my friend, and we started talking, and she was really smart. She was the valedictorian of our class, and I knew she was a Christian, so I started asking her all these questions, and she had a lot of answers, but really she just, no matter how upset I got or how mean I got or whatever, she just always was nice to me and would go out of her way to help me and everything. And it kind of just softened me up and made me realize that Christians aren't the jerks that I always thought they were. And she ended up inviting me to church services with her, and I figured I might as well just go and see what things were about. And I didn't think much would come of it, just was kind of going to check it out. Never been to her type of church before, so I went. And I saw some things, heard some things that I'd never seen or heard before, and it made me start asking questions. So I started asking questions to one of the guys there, and we started studying for a while. We studied for about a year, and really, no question was off limits. I just could ask anything I wanted to ask at any time, and we would go and study it. And this guy just was like, look, I'm not here to debate you. I'm not your opponent. We're just going to come side by side, and we're just going to study the truth together. Wherever it leads us, that's what we're going to do. And we sat down and we started with a lot of the science stuff. Had a lot of questions about how you can account for just not only existence but biological life, with a God. I just thought the whole, some guy in the cloud snaps his fingers and all of a sudden stuff is there thing didn't make a lot of sense. And we started looking at that and a lot of the problems and some of my presuppositions, a lot of the problems and the things I believed. And it opened my eyes for the possibility of a creator. I wasn't quite sold yet, but it made me realize that my foundation, my secular worldview wasn't really as stable as I thought it was. So then we started making the positive case for the existence of God, and we looked at the cosmological argument. Everything that begins to exist has a cause. The universe began to exist, therefore the universe has a cause. And it really, this for the first time I really thought about anything like that. I kind of just took for granted that there's all this stuff here in the universe, and I never really thought about how it got here. And of course, the Big Bang, but the Big Bang is more of a stage than it is a start. There's still all that matter that's just there. How did it get there? And it made me realize that whatever caused that matter to get there, whatever caused all this to get here, had to be sufficient, had to be outside of the universe, it had to be supernatural, it had to be powerful. And that didn't make me a Christian, but it made me think, okay, so there's some kind of higher power. And the more I studied along these lines of thinkings and other arguments for the existence of God, I realized that it would make sense that the Creator would be personal. Only personal beings can design things. Only personal beings can have the intellect necessary to make things and create things. And of course he would try to reach out for us. This being would try to reach out to us if he's moral. The moral argument shows us that since there's objective moral standards, there has to be a giver of those objective moral standards. Otherwise it's just my word against your word or whatever. And it made me realize, okay, so this being is super powerful, this being is outside of the universe, this being is personable. He would want to communicate to us and help us in our messed up situation here on earth. And for the first time in my life, I was a theist, and I believed in God. Of course, that took years, and I'm skipping over a lot, but it made me realize that there is something out there. And I remember going home and telling somebody that I was thinking about becoming a Christian, and they told me, why a Christian? Why not something else? Why not a Hindu or a Muslim or whatever it may be? And it made me just study into the origin of these different world religions and see that there's something just so spectacular about Jesus Christ, his selflessness, his willingness to just give it all for everybody else. And no other world religion is like that. And you look at the Bible and how just immaculate it's been put together, and how historically reliable it is, and the fulfilled prophecy, and the fact that there's things that happened thousands, hundreds of years before they actually happened, foreseen in the pages of the Bible, and we know it wasn't added later through text criticism. We just know the reliability of those things. So it just really blew my mind, and I just fell in love with Jesus, and soon thereafter I was baptized and became a Christian, never really looked back.